Let me be honest with you. Most people our age, we've been trained to think about business ownership in one way. You build it from scratch. You bleed for it, and then you hope it works. That's the hardest, the riskiest, even the slowest way to go. But there's another path. Someone has already figured out the brand, the operations, the supply chain, the marketing, the pricing, everything. It's all on paper in a manual. You bring the one thing that a 28-year-old can't bring to the table and cannot buy. Decades of leadership experience. And that matters. Today, we're going to talk about franchising. Not the fantasy, not the sales pitch that you might hear, but the reality. Whether it's right for you at this stage of your career and what it really costs. And what the industry doesn't want you to know before you sign will also be discussed today. By the end of this episode, you're going to know exactly whether franchising is really an option for you. Not the hype, not the brochures, but the actual numbers, and most importantly, the risks. And a framework to help you decide whether this makes sense right now. Here's something that most people don't realize. The average franchise owner in America is 51 years old. 51. This is not a young person's game. It's an experienced operator's game. Think about what a franchise actually is. You're not buying yourself a job behind a counter. It's actually buying an operating system. You're not betting on your ability to invent a business model. You're betting on your ability to execute one that has already been validated. Hundreds of times, maybe even thousands of times. If you just came from a 30-year corporate career, let me ask you something. Were you the person who thrived inside of a system? Or were you the one who knew how to run the corporate playbook? Who made the operations hum along smoothly? If the answer is yes, then maybe franchising is the most natural move that you've never even considered. And we've talked about this one before on the show in the past, and that is Ray Kroc, the man who took McDonald's from a single restaurant into this global empire that you see on every corner. Do you know how old Ray Kroc was when he discovered the McDonald brothers? He was 52. He spent decades as a milkshake salesman before he saw the franchising opportunity. He didn't build the menu. He didn't invent the speedy service system. What he did, though, was he executed on someone else's proven model at scale. And that is franchising. Let me walk you through why this model actually works for people over 50. Let's start with benefit one. The playbook, it already exists. You're not guessing at the pricing strategy. You're not testing marketing messages from scratch. You're not figuring out the hiring or the operations or any of the steps and processes. No. For someone who spent decades executing in structured environments, this could be your comfort zone. Somebody already made the expensive mistakes, the failed ad campaigns, the wrong suppliers, the bad hires. What you're doing is you're paying to skip that step of decades of trial and error. Then there's benefit number two. Financing is actually easier for franchisees than it is for startups. This is kind of counterintuitive, right? But it's true. Banks prefer to work with known brands with track records rather than the founder with a dream. So the SBA 7A loans, they can cover up to 85-90% of a franchise cost. And here's the irony. A bank is more likely to lend you $200,000 for a proven franchise than $50,000 for your brilliant startup idea. They know what the default rates are, and they know which bets tend to pay off. And franchise systems with strong unit economics, they tend to rise to the top of bank approval lists. Then we have benefit number 3. It's semi-absentee models. They actually exist. What is it? Well, not every franchise is a 70 hours a week behind a counter franchise. Semi-absentee means that you work maybe 20 hours per week on the business itself. You hire a general manager who does the day-to-day operations while you focus on the growth, the finances, and on the overall leadership of the business. Things like senior care franchises, commercial cleaning, and even sometimes fitness concepts. These are built for owners who want to build an asset, not going back into the grind. At 50 plus, you're probably not looking for another burnout chapter in your life. What you want instead is to build your income and your equity on your terms. So these models, they exist and they're growing. Now, let's talk about what this actually costs. Because most people, they don't really know the orders of magnitude. I had to research myself a bit when I was exploring franchising about 6 years ago. And the franchise industry, well, they don't make it easy to find out. So let me break this into 3 different levels. At the low end, we're talking about $15,000 to $50,000. These are home services, mobile phone services, some senior care placement models. There's no storefront, there's no inventory, and most of them are home-based, so it's pretty low overhead. Then at the mid-range, you're looking at $75,000 to $200,000. These can be commercial cleaning franchises, they're fitness studios, tutoring centers, and some salon concepts. These have some build-out costs. You have to buy some equipment, and of course there's some staffing that goes along with it. And at the high end, you have $500,000 to $2.5 million. Here we're talking McDonald's, Dunkin', hotel franchises, and some other large restaurant concepts. These are serious capital requirements. And now, here is what most people don't understand. There are separate costs that you're paying, not just one. First, there's the franchise fee. So this is a one-time upfront payment, and it's usually $20,000 to $50,000. This buys you the brand name, the training program, and access to the operating playbook. Then second, there's the initial investment. This is the big number. You're building out a location, you're buying equipment, you're stocking inventory, and you have to have working capital for the first months before you even break even. This is where the money goes. Third, there are ongoing royalties, typically 4% to 8% of your gross revenue, every month, every quarter, whether you are profitable or not. Let that sink in for just a second. You're paying royalties on the revenue, not the profit. So if you gross $500,000 at 6% royalties, that's $30,000 out the door before you even pay yourself. Let me give you a concrete low-end example. Something like a senior care placement franchise. The total investment could be $50,000 to $80,000, something in this range. You're working from home, there's no storefront, there's no inventory. And the demographic tailwind, it's massive. The 65 plus population in the country, in the United States, is exploding, whether we like to admit that or not. People need help navigating healthcare costs, and you become their trusted advisor. Then let's look at a mid-range example. Here we're talking about commercial cleaning franchise. The total investment here could be around $100,000 to $150,000. You're talking about a B2B recurring revenue. It's contract-based. There's low employee count compared to food services. And the money, it's fairly predictable. And now a high-end example, McDonald's. Everyone's favorite, right? The total investment is about $1.3 to $2.5 million. And here's the kicker. They require $500,000 in liquid assets. non-borrowed cash, just to apply. Yes, you can make money with this, but you just have to see that you need a huge amount of capital just to get in the door. We also have to be really honest about the risks here, because anyone who tells you that franchising is a guaranteed path is either selling you a franchise or has never owned one. I'm neither selling you one nor have I owned one, but I do understand the risks. There's risk number one. You're signing someone else's rule book. The franchisor controls your branding, controls your menu or your services, controls your pricing and your approved suppliers. You can't just try something new when a local competitor shows up in your neighborhood. You can't pivot because you have a great idea. No, you're an entrepreneur, but not really. You're actually a franchisee, and that's a difference, and it matters. Territory protection, it varies wildly from brand to brand. So some franchise agreements, they give you a protected radius, keeps the competitors out. Others, they let the franchisor have another location, same one, 3 blocks away. So you really need to read the contract. I mean, really read it, and probably do that with a lawyer who is specialized in franchise law. And then let's talk about risk number 2. The numbers, they don't always work out. The SBA data, it shows that 20 to 25% of franchise loans, they default within 10 years. Early defaults in the first 18 months, they've been rising, and they're currently at about 1.4%, which is above historical averages. Royalty payments, they eat into already thin margins. And here's what I mean. So again, you might gross $500,000 a year. After royalties, labor, rent, supplies, and everything else, you might net $50,000. That's not wealth building. That's literally buying yourself a job. As an example, I had recently read an article somewhere about a franchise owner in the sandwich shop field who owned his business for 11 years. Decent income, he said, but when he got out of it, when he sold, he got back exactly what he paid for it. 11 years, 0 appreciation. That's not an asset. That's a job with extra steps, quite frankly. Let's talk about risk number 3. Not every franchise is legitimate. There's an irony alert here because there's an entire industry built on selling franchises to people who don't know how to evaluate a franchise. It's kind of scammy sounding, right? Some franchise brands are essentially just like a marketing operation. What they do is they sell territory rights. They collect a franchise fee, and then they just kind of walk away and disappear. Here are some of the red flags that you can look out for. They have a really aggressive sales tactic. They don't disclose any of their franchise failure rates, and they put massive pressure on you to sign before you can do your homework. And their royalty structure, it doesn't align whatsoever with their incentives. If the franchisor makes money, whether you succeed or fail, well, that's a fundamental structural problem. This is so important, actually, that I've invited an expert to help us separate the gold from the garbage. In a few weeks, I'm going to be sitting down with Edith Wiseman, who's the president of FranData. FranData is one of the most respected franchise research and analytics companies in the United States. What she's going to do, she's going to bring actual data and knowledge, not anecdotes and certainly not sales brochures, but real franchisee success rates by category, real earnings claims data, and how the SBA lending, how the shifts in 2026 have an impact on franchise buyers our age. If you're even remotely curious about franchising, that conversation is going to be required viewing. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel now so that you don't miss that conversation. So let me give you a framework that you can work with. I have 3 questions to ask yourself very honestly before you fill in any of those request more information forms. Let's start with question 1. Do you have capital that you can afford to lose? And I don't mean just can you afford the franchise fee. The real question is, can you afford and survive the ramp up? Most franchises, they don't return a profit until 6 to 18 months, possibly even longer. And if you're using your retirement savings and you can't replace that, then you should just stop here probably. Don't pass go, don't collect $200, and don't request more information. Franchising is not a bailout for a depleted 401k. But franchising is a deployment of capital that you can afford to risk. Then let's move on to question 2. Are you comfortable executing rather than inventing? Franchise rewards operators, but not visionaries. If you're someone who chafes at rules, who wants to do things your own way, who can't stand being told what to sell and how to sell it, franchising, it's probably going to drive you crazy. This describes me, and that's why I ultimately didn't pursue a franchise. But here's the flip side. Some of us thrived in corporate structures precisely because we knew how to execute inside of those. We led teams, we hit targets, we ran the playbook better than anyone else. That skill, it translates directly into franchise ownership. And then we have question 3 you need to ask yourself. Does this franchise solve a problem that will still exist in 10 years? Senior care, home services, cleaning, pet care, these all have demographic tailwinds. The population is aging. People are busier than ever. They need services. So what you want to do is bet on demographics and don't bet on trends. Look, trendy food concepts, they come and go. Frozen yogurt was supposed to be the next big thing. Remember all of those during our high school and college years back in those days? Yeah, where are they now? What you want to do is you want to bet on something that people will need more of, not less of, every year. Here's why this episode matters right now, and why you need to come back in a couple of weeks when I have Edith Wiseman on the show. The conversation with her, it's not going to be about like a surface level interview. No, she's bringing real experience, 20 years worth in fact, which franchise categories actually deliver for their owners, what the real survival rates look like, how much franchises in different categories could actually earn, and how the 2026 SBA lending environment is shifting for people in our age group over 50. And you can add your questions for her down in the comments right now. I'll do my best to try to capture those and bring those into our conversation. I want you to be ready for that conversation. So you should have your notes ready, including your answers to those 3 questions. Because when Edith lays out the data, you're going to know whether franchising deserves to be on your plan or not, or whether it's something that you can just simply cross off and move past. Either way, you're going to know. And that is the goal here. Clarity. Not hype, not false hope, but clarity. Here's what I want you to do right now. Before you go looking at the franchise opportunities, before you fill out another request more information form online, you really should answer those 3 questions. Write them down again. Here we go. Do you have capital that you can afford to risk? Are you an executor or an inventor? And does what you are looking at have a demographic tailwind, or are you just chasing a trend? Answer these honestly, because when Edith joins us, you will be ready to evaluate what she shares with your clear eyes and a very clear framework. Franchising, it's not a magic ticket. I'm not standing here telling you to go buy a Subway, but for the right person, someone with with experience, with judgment, with the ability to lead a team and to follow a system, it might be actually the fastest, safest bridge that you have from the corporate world to get your financial independence. If this episode struck you, please, I do hope that you hit the subscribe button, you like the episode, and that you share it with someone who really might need it. Also, be sure to visit ageismsurvivalguide.com. I've got resources there that are available with a free membership level. I also have a paid membership level with a lot more resources available, as well as the ability at either membership level to book a meeting with me where we can talk about where you are today, where you want to be, and then to work out a strategy and a plan to get you where you want to be. As I always say, youth runs fast, but age knows the terrain. I'll see you next time.